Okay, coordinate geometry. Now, in coordinate geometry, like the basics of coordinate geometry, we have already studied. सही हो गया? इसके अंदर अभी हमारा जो मेन पर्पस है वो सर्कल्स को अंडरस्टैंड करना है. ठीक है, हमने कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री में भी हम बेसिक स्टफ नहीं करेंगे. हमने इसमें हमारा मेन फोकस जो होगा दैट इज गोइंग टू बी ऑन सर्कल्स. ओके, नाउ first of all, to start with, we'll see. So let's say this is a circle which I have, and let's assume that this is the center of it, and it has a particular radius. Now this is a random circle drawn anywhere, but if I draw the same circle in a Cartesian plane, as in I have the y-axis and I have the x-axis. So let's say I have a circle like this in a Cartesian plane. Okay,
Yes.
like this. Now, this equation is going to have an equation just because I have drawn this circle in a Cartesian plane where I have the y-axis and the x-axis. So each point over here has an address, a center has an address. This radius has a length, which in coordinate geometry you studied how to find the length between the 2 points by using the distance formula. So keeping all the previous concepts in mind, so let's see how to write down the equation of a circle. So this is how equation of a circle looks like: x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared equals to r squared. So if I have an equation of a circle written like this, then it has a meaning that this thing with the opposite sign, which becomes plus h, and this thing with the opposite sign, which becomes plus k. And so this h and k, h is the x coordinate and k is the y coordinate for the center of the circle. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so so anytime if I have an equation written like this, I should be able to tell that what is the center of the circle. Another important thing over here is this r. Now r is basically the radius of the circle. Okay, r is
Yes, sir.
going to be the radius of the circle. Now, for example, I have an equation written like this: x plus 4 whole squared plus x minus 7 whole squared equals to 49. Now, this is basically an equation of circle. Now, if I ask you to what are the coordinates of the center of the circle, can you tell me?
Uh, 4 and 7 minus 7.
No, you change signs of these. See, it
Okay,
was minus
minus 4
8.
and 7.
Shabash. So it's going to be minus 4 and plus 7. Shabash. And if I ask you what is the radius of the circle,
Root of 49.
root of 49, and that is going to be
7.
7, 7 units. Shabash. So this is how you can write down the equation of circle, and this is what it means. Okay?
Yes.
Shabash. Okay. Now if I give you the coordinates of the center and the radius of the circle, let's see if you are able to write down its equation. So if I tell you that I have a circle whose center is at -3 and 2 and radius is, let's say, 5. If I ask you to write down the equation, let me just copy this down for you so that you can create an equation according to this. So what would be the equation of circle?
It should be x plus 3 whole square plus y minus 2 whole squared
Mm-hmm.
equals to 25.
Very good, shabash. So basically, this is how you will start off. So x minus and h is -3 whole squared plus y minus k is +2 whole squared equals to the square of the radius. So upon simplifying this, you'll get x plus 3 whole squared plus y minus 2 whole squared equals 25. So this is the equation of this particular circle. Very good, Kalash. Got it?
Yes, sir. Got it.
So just remember, you did it very well here. So whenever you're about to find, if you're provided with the equation of the circle and examiner asks you to give the radius of the circle, always remember to take the root of the right hand side if it's not written in the square form. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Now let's just do a question here. A circle has its center at -5, -7, and goes through the point 1, 1. Find the equation of circle. Now, for any equation, remember there are two things. For any equation of the circle, whenever you're writing down the equation of the circle, there are two main things. One is the center of the circle, okay? And another one is the radius of the circle. So whatever information is provided to you, you should have one like those two things in focus, that if you do have those two things or not. If not, then use the given information in order to have that those two things. One is center and the other one is radius. Now, what do you think? What are you going to do over here?
Um, we can calculate the magnitude from the center to the point.
Shabash. So we have the center, so we are good about the center of the circle, but we don't have the radius. But we know that for any circle, radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. As the examiner suggests, like examiner is telling you that a circle is passing through 1, 1, and the center is at -5 and -7. So by using a distance formula, we can calculate its distance between these 2 points, which is technically going to be the radius of the circle. Okay, so by using distance formula, just for the recap, I'm going to write down the distance formula here. So that was the root of y2 minus y1 whole squared plus x2 minus x1 and the whole square of it. So let's just figure out the distance between the 2 points. So that is going to be 1 minus 7, and then the square of it plus 1 minus 5, and then the square of it, and then the root of it. Okay, so that would leave you with 1 plus 7 whole squared, which is 8 squared, and then 1 plus 5 whole squared, which is going to be 6 squared. So let's just put both of these in the calculator and see what do we get. So it's going to be root of 8 squared plus 6 squared, which is going to be 10. Therefore, radius is 10 units. Now you have the radius and you have the center. Now you should be able to find out the equation of the circle very easily. Now the equation of circle, come on, help me to write it down.
It should be the x-axis. The center is
Negative
x
5 and
plus
negative
5,
7. Center is
and here
negative
plus
5 and negative 7.
so x plus 5 whole square,
Mm-hmm.
then plus y plus 7 whole square
Good.
equals to root of 10.
Sorry?
Root of 10.
No, no, not root.
Oh, 10, because that's the radius.
Yeah, so square of the radius. So that is going to be 10 squared. This was the format.
Yes.
R squared. So it's going to be 10 squared, which is basically 100. So you can write it down as x plus 5 whole squared plus y plus 7 whole squared equals 100. Got it?
Yes.
Shabash. Okay, now sometimes you need to find out the center and the radius both. Okay, so you're provided with the equation. So now what we've done, uh, I gave you the center and the radius, and I asked you to write down its equation. Sometimes you may have the expanded form of the equation, and the examiner will ask you to find out its radius and the center. So let's just see how, let's just learn that skill. So we know the basic is x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared equals to r squared. So that's one form of the equation of the circle. So, by using algebra, I can expand this, isn't it? And by using algebra, I can also expand this one. So let's see how does the expanded form looks like. So I'm not going to use h and k for the expanded form. So I'm going to give you another standard format for the expanded form of the circle. So that is x squared plus y squared plus 2 f into x plus 2 g into y plus c equals 0. So if you expand this and do a little bit of rearrangement, you should be able to get an equation which matches this format. Okay? So I'm going to tell
Okay.
you what do we mean by each of these things over here. But before I do that, let me just try to give you a question and see how can we find out by using both ways. If I have an expanded form of the equation of circle, by using a completing square, I can always rearrange that form and go back to this form and then find out the center and the radius easily. We've already practiced and checked how to find out the center and the radius of the circle from the first format. So let's just say I have a question: x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus y minus 15 equals 0. Okay, I'm starting off with the easy question. So I'm going to apply completing square on this part of the equation as well as this part of the equation. Okay,
Yes.
So just a quick recap on a completing square. For example, if you have a question x squared plus 4x minus 3. So if I want to apply a completing square on it, I'll be doing x minus. Okay, now here I'm going to put the same sign, whatever I have, the one with the linear term. So here it's positive. Then here in the blank spaces, I'm going to put half of this, which is going to be 2 in this case. We always get a negative sign here. We always get these two squares here. And then at the end, I'm going to write down this constant with the sign as it is. So this is how you complete the square. And then you simplify this. So let's just apply the same concept here. So the first part, you can clearly see I've got x, and then I've got a minus sign with the 6x. I'm going to put minus here, and then bracket close, whole square. Here, I'm going to put 3 with this one. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Here I'm going to put 3 with this part. Then minus and then 3 squared. Got it? So this
Yes, sir.
thing, I got it from here. Now, let's just do it for the next part. So for that one, I'll be doing plus y plus. Now this time I've got a plus sign with y, so I'm going to put the plus sign here. And then half of the coefficient of y, so that is going to be 1 by 2, in this case, squared, and then minus 1 by 2, and whole squared. Got it?
Yes.
Now as you can clearly see that I've got one thing left over. This thing here, I got it from this first highlighted part. This thing here, I got it from the second highlighted part. This is left. I'm just going to copy it down here so that I have the exact equation as earlier. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to work out the constants here and leave the square brackets as it is. So x minus 3 whole squared plus y plus 1 over 2 whole squared minus 3 squared is 9 minus 1 over 2 squared is going to be 1 over 4 and then minus 15 equals 0. Now I'm going to work out these three. So 9 plus 1 over 4 plus 15, that is, you want to leave it in fraction, that's going to be 97 over 4. So it's going to be x minus 3 whole squared plus y plus 1 over 2 whole squared minus 97 over 4 equals 0. Now I'll be moving this constant on the right hand side. So x minus 3 whole squared plus y plus 1 over 2 whole squared equals to 97 over 4. Now you can clearly see that I have this equation written in the format x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared equals to r squared. Now if I want to know the center, that's going to be plus 3 and minus 1 over 2. That's the center. And the radius is going to be the root of 97 over 4. And if I do that, I should be able to get 4.92 units. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So what I've done is I've got the expanded form by applying the completing square on x terms and then y terms, and then dissolving all the constants together and moving it to the other side of the equation, I was able to achieve this format. And from here, could easily tell what is the center and what is the radius. Got it? Now, what if I tell you that you can talk about and extract the information about the radius and center directly from this format instead of into rearranging this equation into this form and then find out the radius and the center. You can directly get your desired information from this format. So let me tell you that what are the meanings of each of these terms over here. So let's just copy this down and then talk about this equation a bit more. So this is again the expanded form of the equation. Okay. Now, whenever you have this type of the equation, which is x squared plus y squared plus 2fx plus 2gy plus c equals to 0. Now, in this case, center is always going to be minus f and then the minus g. Now, minus f is, now you get f from here, and then you get g from here. You write both of these with the opposite signs. Okay?
Yes, sir.
That is always going to be your center. And radius, in order to work out the radius, you'll be doing the root of f squared plus g squared minus c without the square. There's no square on the c, remember. Okay? Now, all you have to do is memorize the equations and these informations from the equations. Okay? And then you'll be good to go with this particular topic. Now, let's just do the same question. So I'm going to copy this down. I'll rewrite it. Now, the equation was x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus y minus 15 equals to 0. Now I'm going to rearrange this equation a bit, making sure I've written the x squared and the y squares first. So I'm going to do x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus y and minus 15 equals to 0. Okay? Now I'm going to write down these two terms with a factor of 2. As you can see, this x linear term of x has a factor of 2 in it, and a linear term of y also has a factor of 2 in it. So I'm going to do x squared plus y squared. I can write down 6 as, okay, now all the terms are positive here. So I'll be changing the sign to plus 2 here, plus, and then 2 times what is going to be negative 6. 2 times what is going to be negative 6.
2 times -3.
Yeah, so I'm going to put negative 3 in here. So this is the same term. All I did is I've written it in the form of, in this form with plus 2 times f times x. So I'll be doing the same for the next part. Plus, it's already positive term with 2 times what is going to be 1y. So that is going to be 1 by 2. 2 times 1 by 2 is going to give you 1 by. So this 2 and this 2 will be cancelled out, and eventually you'll be left out with just y. So this is correct. So this is how you can write it down with a factor of 2. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And then plus c is going to be negative, negative 15, and then equals to 0. So just remember, in this format, every term is positive. Okay? So whatever term is negative here, I'll enclose it in the bracket with a positive sign outside the bracket. All right?
Yes, sir.
Now, as I stated earlier, once you have this format, f, which is basically with 2 between 2 and x for this term, that this thing with the opposite sign is going to be the x coordinate of the center. Now, in this case, f is negative 3. So if I change the signs for this one, it's going to give me positive 3. Okay? And
Yes,
G, if you look carefully, is between a factor 2 and Y. That's G. And if I change the sign of it, that is going to give me the Y coordinate of the center. So that's G in this case. And if I change the sign, that is going to give me negative 1 over 2. So these are the coordinates for the center of the circle, 3 and negative 1 by 2. Now, if I want to work out the center radius of the circle, radius is root of f squared plus g squared minus c. Now, f is negative 3 and g is 1 by 2 and c is negative 15. Got it?
yes, sir.
That's going to leave you with 9 plus 1 over 4 plus 15 and then the root of it. So that is going to be root of 9 plus 1 by 4 plus 15, and you will eventually end up with the same answer as you got earlier, which is going to be 4.92. 4.92. Yes, that is going to be the radius of the particular circle. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let's just do a question here. So, for example, I have got a circle has an equation x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 6y plus k equals to 0. And it passes through 5 and 12. And he's asking us to find center and the radius of the circle. Now, this is the basic concept of coordinate geometry. Initially, it may look like that what are we supposed to do here? Now, for this, let me just give you an idea. So let's just say I tell you that I have an equation y equals to 2x plus, let's just say c, and I tell you that this is the equation of a straight line. So let's just draw that line here. So let's suppose that this is the equation for this line. And I tell you that this line also passes through the point 2 and 5. And I want you to work out the value of this constant c. And how would you do that? We've been doing this in O levels and the basic coordinate geometry of the PO1 as well. Idea? Hello?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I was speaking, but I don't think there was a connection. Sir, can you repeat the question?
Okay, the question is that a circle has an equation. This is the equation. If you look carefully, that's unknown here, that's k. But at the same time, examiner is giving you that this circle is passing through the points 5 and 12. And he's asking you to find out the center and the radius of the circle. Before you start thinking about this unknown k and getting panicked, it's a very basic concept which we've been doing in O levels. Now, for example, I tell you that this is the line and it has this equation y equals to 2x plus c. You don't know the value of c, but if I ask you to work out the value of c, having said that the line passes through 2 and 5, how would you work out the value of c then?
We can place the 2 and 5 in the equation, like 5 equals to 2 times 2 plus c, and then we can work out the value of c.
Very good, excellent. So we'll be doing exactly same thing over here as the examiner is saying that the circle is passing through this point. So we can work out the value of k very easily. So all I have to do is plug in this point into this equation. So in all the x's, I'm going to put 5, and in all the y's, I'm going to put 12, and then I'll be just left with the k to work out its value. So let's just do it. So for k, as it passes through 5 and 12, so I'm going to substitute that into the equation. So it's going to be 5 squared plus 12 squared plus 2 times 5 minus 6 times 12 and plus k equals to 0. Now let's just work this out. So that's 5 squared plus 12 squared plus 2 times 5 is 10 minus 12 times 6 is 72, and that's 107. So 107 plus k equals to 0. Therefore, k equals to negative 107. Got it?
Yes,
Now
sir.
we can write down the full equation here. So x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 6y minus 107 equals to 0. Now I have the equation completely now. I don't have any unknowns here. Now all I've got to do is find out the center and the radius. Just for the sake of the practice, I'll be using both ways. First one, I'll be using this form, x squared plus y squared plus 2fx plus 2gy plus c equals to 0. So I know if I have the equation in this format, then minus f and minus g would be the center, and radius is going to be the root of f squared plus g squared minus c. So I'll work out the center and the radius by using this particular format. So in order to do that, I need to do a bit of changes in these two terms. So x squared plus y squared plus 2 times 1 times x plus 2 times negative 3 times y plus negative 107 equals 0. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now you can clearly see that the center is going to be negative 1 and positive 3. So I'm changing the signs of these and copy them down as coordinates of the center. So negative 1 and positive 3 are the coordinates for the center of the circle. Now if I want to work out the radius, I'll be using the same formula. So f is 1, g is negative 3, minus c is 1 negative 107, and then the square root of it. So it's going to be root of 1 squared is 1 plus square of negative 3 is going to be positive 9, and then minus times minus is plus. 107, and the radius is 10.8 units. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Now, I'll be doing the same question by following the other format, which is x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared equals to r squared. So I'll be rearranging this equation first. I'm going to write x squared with the x term, y squared with the y term so that I can complete the square. So that's going to leave me with x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus 6y, and then constant term at the end of it equals 0. Or what you can do is you can take the constant on the right hand side right in the beginning, because eventually you'll be moving all the constants to the right hand side. So it's going to be plus 107 on the right hand side. Now let's just apply the completing square. So I'll be doing for this one first. So for that one, it's going to be x plus half of 2 is 1 whole squared minus 1 squared. That's done for this one. Now let's just move on to this part. So that is going to be plus y minus 3 whole squared minus, and then 3 squared. Got it?
Yes, sir.
And then equals 107. So I've got x plus 1 whole squared plus y minus 3 whole squared minus 1 minus 9 equals 107. Minus 1 and minus 1 is going to be negative 10. And then when we move to the other side, it's going to be positive 10. So 107 plus 10 would definitely give you 117. Now, if I want to write down the center is going to be negative 1 and positive 3. Change the signs of both of these, and you will have the coordinates for the center of the circle. And the radius is going to be the root of 117, which would be same, 10.8 units. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So, this was about the basics. I think this is it for today. Any questions?
No, sir. No questions.
All right, before we proceed further, I want you to have a very strong grip on both of these formats. So, the last question which I did is a pretty good question in which I had the equation, and then there was one unknown in the original equation, but we used this information that the circle was passing through 5 and 12. We worked out the value of k. Once I have a complete equation, I worked out the center and radius by both methods, by using both forms of the equation. Okay? Now you should have a very strong grip on each of the form and should be able to work out center and the radius and vice versa. Okay?
Yes, sir.
We just stop the recording.